pirouettes on his corpse. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with Abigail. This is a donation reward for Venom, and yeah, this is a newer movie. It is already out and everything on streaming, and it is a movie I had been kind of interested in because this is a movie about a kidnapping gone wrong. It is about a group of kidnappers who kidnap this daughter only to find out she's a vampire. And I believe the daughter of Dracula. And that's not a spoiler, by the way. Just to get this right off the bat, that's the entire premise of the movie. That's literally what the film is about. It's not a spoiler. And this is something that I had, seen people talking about with this film. I had seen some people were saying, oh, I wish they had not revealed that in the trailer. It's that wasn't just something revealed in the trailer because trailers nowadays reveal everything. No, that's again the entire premise of the movie. It was never meant to be a surprise. That's literally what the film is at its core about. What? I mean, you can think, of course, oh, this might have been better if it were a surprise and everything. That's fine, but it just makes no sense to me when people say act like it was supposed to be. Because again, this is the entire premise of the film. This is what it was always going to be about. Now, I don't know everyone who's in this. But I believe that one of the actresses in it, she's the only one I know for sure, is the same girl who is in Lisa Frankenstein. And she was in Detective Pikachu and whatnot. I can't think of her name for the life of me. But I believe she's in this as well. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't know who the other characters are played by offhand. I might have heard at one point, I just don't remember. I don't know, but thinking off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone else that I know is in this. I only saw, I think, one trailer for this, and I think it was the original, the first one that was put out. So all I know is the basic premise. I don't know any other details. And I'm very interested to see how this goes. Because obviously we're going to have this little girl and this little ballet girl vampire fucking up all these stupid kidnappers. And I'm hoping to enjoy this. Now, I have heard, again, I haven't heard any spoilers, but outside of just some people complaining about, not understanding the premise and everything, another thing I've heard some people say, spoiler-free, is just the general thoughts on it, and it seems to be pretty mixed. Some people like it, some people don't. Some people think it's a bit of a disappointment. Some people think it's underrated. And there's a lot of movies that are very divisive like this, so it's not a big surprise. But I still have hope. Because the premise looks great. It is a fun idea for a premise. And from what I saw of that one trailer, it doesn't look like it's trying to take itself too seriously. It's oh, we're aware of how goofy this premise, this idea is. And we're going to take full advantage of that. That's kind of what I got from the trailer. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. And as always, if some people don't like this, that's fine. If I don't end up liking this, that's fine. It's all subjective anyway, so. I'm definitely interested to see who else is in this. I'm interested to see what else there is with the plot. If there really isn't much of anything else with the plot, that's fine too, as long as it's still done well. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see more. So we're going to get into this and hope for the best. And honestly, I'm just hoping it's as good as X was. If you had watched yesterday's reaction to X, then you know how much I love that. And yeah, it's like, if this can live up to that or even be close to its level, it's like, I will be happy. It doesn't have to be exactly like perfect. It doesn't have to be the best thing I've ever seen. But as long as I have fun with it, as long as I enjoy watching it, that's what I'm asking for. So, that being said, let's just get into this. Let me just cut in here for a moment to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. A plethora of awesome series reactions every day, Monday through Friday, with 2 on Friday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday, as well as Let's Plays. We alternate between Horizon Baldur's Gate 3 every day, and we have Anno Mutationum on Saturdays. We also redirect all reactions on the channel. Please follow the link in the description to get to today's reaction. It's due to copyright, you get the idea. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us out and allows me to get out more awesome content for all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get on with the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I know where I messed up now. So the enforcer that we heard about was Valdez. And Lazar was the father's last name that we had heard about. Valdez was actually just Abigail. Like, that was the reveal, that Abigail was actually just Valdez the entire time. That there was no Valdez coming at any point. I at some point just mixed up the names and thought Lazar was the bodyguard. So that's on me. But yeah, I also wanted to look up the actor Matthew Good who played Dracula or Lazar or Father or whatever you want to call him. He was listed as Father in the credits. The actor I only know for one thing, and that is the Watchmen movie, where he played Ozymandias, aka Adrian Veidt. I saw that when looking him up. I'm like, oh yeah, that is definitely him. Okay. It's like something I never would have recognized if I hadn't looked it up. It's just like I would not have recognized him as Adrian. Partially because of the makeup, partially because of the performance. It just never would have crossed my mind. So yeah. And I found out with Angus Cloud, yeah, he passed away last year from an accidental drug overdose. He was only 25. And I think I did hear about this when this happened, because it mentioned he was on, what was the show? I just saw it too, and now I can't remember. Euphoria. Yeah, he was on Euphoria, and I believe I remember seeing something last year about a Euphoria actor who died super young and everything. That's really sad. It's just like he was only 25 years old and probably had a notable career ahead of him. And this is like his final role. Released like after his death and everything. It's like, that's just sad. He did a good job for his character, though. I will give him that. All the actors did a good job in here. Some of the performances were a little cheesy, a little corny. But that's kind of part of the appeal of this film. This film is very corny. It very much is, and it's clearly meant to be. I feel like too many people would go into this trying to take it way too seriously and try to see it like, oh, it's unintentionally funny at parts. It's like, no, it's very intentional. The humor is very intentional. It's meant to be like that. And it's not meant to be a movie that you take too seriously. You're not supposed to think too hard about it. You're just supposed to sit back and enjoy it. as it is without, like, over analyzing everything about it. There's a lot of lore regarding vampires mentioned in here, and some things match up, some things don't. Sunlight does match up. Stake through the heart matches up. But like stuff like garlic and crucifixes don't. Those have no effect whatsoever. And that's the thing. There's so much vampire lore out there. There's so much that it's like some vampire stories have certain elements to them that others don't. Like the garlic thing, I don't think is actually in like Dracula, for example, at all. But that's kind of like a big thing that people associate with the character of Count Dracula. But I don't think that's actually in the book. I've read Bram Stoker's Dracula like 3 or 4 times, and from the best of my knowledge, that's not in there. But like you also bring in the idea of shape-shifting, which is not confirmed if that's even a thing in this. But like you see like super strength, regenerative abilities, the ability to turn people into thralls, and the fact that it has to be an active thing you do. It's not just, oh, you bite them and then you have control over them and they'll listen to you. No. You have to activate it. As we saw earlier in the movie, Abigail had done with Sammy. We saw the moment it was activated. It's basically like a switch was flipped after this little struggle trying to basically take over her mind. Not that it was much of a struggle. I think she was more toying with her, but still. And it's also interesting that Lambert was planning on betraying Abigail and everything, that he wanted out. And, he didn't really last long because Frank was the true final villain of this. Because I wouldn't really count the father as the villain, because he didn't really have much impact on the film at all. He just kind of came in at the end. It's like, oh, I'm, vampire daddy. I'm here to just let you go. Actually, you could just leave, skedaddle, skedat. He didn't really do anything. I wouldn't really consider him the main final villain, even though like it's implied that he's this insane crime boss. But in terms of the actual story we got, the main final villain is absolutely Frank, which, not surprising. He was a self-righteous asshole the entire film, and so the instant he got an opportunity to become a vampire himself, of course he was going to take it. And of course he was going to turn on the vampire who turned him in the first place, being Lambert. So it's not really a surprise how that turned out. It's just not quite what I was expecting at first. But as it went along, it became more obvious and everything. When like Lambert first attacked Abigail, I actually did think that he had killed her there. And I was thinking like, oh, so Frank is now going to chase Joey around, and eventually she's going to be saved by maybe the father coming in and finding out that his daughter was killed, so he's going to attack and kill Frank, leaving Joey time to escape. That was my thoughts. Did not go in that direction though. Didn't go there at all. And of course, I did still also make the mistake of the names, mixing up Valdez with the father's name and everything. So there was that little faux pas as well. I liked a lot of the characters in this, like just not just the performances from the actors, but the characters themselves. So that was pretty good. I like that there were plenty of likable characters. It wasn't just all assholes. And the fact that Joey is the one to survive in the end, having been the first one to talk to Abigail and being the most sympathetic for her because she has a kid of her own, that was so obvious. It's like, yeah, you're going to be the final survivor. The only other option would be that there would be no survivors. No one else would be the final survivor but her. Though that would have been an interesting twist if, like, I don't know, say Sammy was, or Frank, or what's his name, Steven or whatever, the big lug. That would have been interesting as a twist, but no. Again, it's not meant to be anything like super fancy or anything special. It's one of those movies you're supposed to just kind of turn your brain off to and just enjoy. If you're really over analyzing it and thinking too heavily into it, like, you're kind of missing the point with a movie like this. I mean, just the concept alone, like a vampire ballerina dancer, a 12-year-old vampire ballerina, well, not actually 12, but physically 12, is trapping and stalking these criminals who kidnapped her throughout this giant mansion. It's like, come on, that's silly. That's ridiculously silly. And at no point did it ever feel like it didn't work in that regard. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed Melissa Barrera's performance. Catherine Newton was great. Everyone did a great job. Uh, I do kind of wish Giancarlo Esposito was used a little more because he's so amazing. But, like, again, considering the fact that the trailer I saw, I don't think even had him in it. The fact that I clearly went into this not even realizing he was in this. It's like he was never going to be a major character. Hell, even his return and the entire fake out of, like, oh, I'm going to help you guys get out of here. It's like, oh, I'm not talking to you, by the way. I'm mostly talking to Frank over here. It's like, let me turn you and stuff, and we'll take out Abigail. It's just like, that was so very clearly a fake out to the point where it's like, oh, yeah, he's going to take it, but he's going to kill you. The kills weren't as creative as I feel they could have been. Like, I feel like they could have done the kills a lot better, if I'm being honest. The best kill, I would say, was the serving tray. Using the serving tray to reflect the light was the most creative, unique, and interesting kill in this, and that's saying something, because even that wasn't that special. The kills in this were kind of boring, like, for the most part. It was very standard shit. Multiple people died from a stake through the heart. It's just like, really? You can come up with something a little more fun and interesting? Like, yeah, this is a movie you're just supposed to turn your brain off to, but at the same time, it's like, it would have, with a movie that's supposed to be this goofy and silly, you could have some fun kills. But in the end, it doesn't, like, ruin the movie or anything. I'm not, like, horribly insulted by it. I had a fun time. I had a really fun time. Wasn't quite as good as X was for yesterday's reaction. X was definitely, like, really good and impressive. But again, this wasn't, like, trying to be, like, super impressive. It was, again, more just for funsies. It was meant to not be taken seriously and to just enjoy. So I'm not really surprised, and I'm definitely not upset at that. But like I said, I had a lot of fun. It was still an enjoyable film. And it's definitely one I would watch again. So tell me your thoughts down below. What did you think of Abigail? And thanks for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.